Hi everyone, welcome to this revision video of organizational behavior. This is for week 1 of the module. So before we go into organizational behavior and how organizations function and how people function, what we need to know is what are objectives? Objective is a step on the way towards a goal. So for example, if your goal is to increase your profit by 50%, your objective would be to increase your marketing, for example. So you must have heard before the objective should be SMART. Now, that is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So this means that the objectives that we have need to be all these things so that we are able to achieve them and so that we can measure it so that they're specific and they're time bound. Now, when we look at the difference between all these products, if you look at it, if you take a moment, you must see that the main difference is some of these are physical products, and then the haircut is a service. So now let's see the difference between products and services. Um, Products are tangible. That means you can touch them. The products stay with the customer, and there's production and the buying and the customers are kept separate. Products can be stored, and it's very easy for customers to inspect the quality of products because they have them in hand, they can touch them. When it comes to services, services are intangible, you can't really touch it. Services are consumed at the point of delivery. Um, for example, when you go get a haircut, you have to sit there in order to get the haircut. That means you are involved in the process. You can't store these services, and the quality is dependent on the expectations or perceptions that each person might have. Now let's go into the organizational behavior. These are the learning objectives of today's lecture. Let's start by seeing what organizational behavior means. So organizational behavior is about the people in people management. So when you're in an organization, there's a lot of people that are part of it. So this module is going to help understand and manage the behavior of the people in any type of organization. So these are some concepts that you're going to learn: job security, power to people, generous pay. These are some main concepts of this module. Now let's start with how this came into being. So at the beginning of organizational behavior, it's based off of theories that started in the 19th century. So from agriculture-based feudalism theories, it moved towards capitalism, and that's when a lot of sociologists developed their own theories. So Karl Marx had a working class theory. Max Weber had some theories. So we're going to have a look at some of these theories. Frederick Taylor, his theory was based on scientific management, and he said that if there is standardization, let's say his theory was based in a factory type of environment. So he said that if there is standardization, the output is going to be higher. So if you standardize a task, if you give a clear boundary of what the task is and what it involves, the output will become more, and that means there will be control and predictability. And basically his theory, because it was initial, it was based on the fact that the workers in the factory just need to come and do their job, and the thinking is for the managers only. Then as time went by, Henry Fayol came up with his theory, and his theory outlined the 5 basic tasks of the management. So that these 5 tasks are planning, organizing, leading, coordinating, and controlling. There's also 14 general management principles that Henry Fayol came up with. That involve division of labor, authority, responsibility, discipline, and everything that is important in an organization. After that, we moved to Chester Barnard. He devised 3 necessary elements for cooperation. So in an organization, when you want people to work together, that's called cooperation, like for them to communicate with each other and understand each other's needs and actions and act accordingly. So he came up with 3 major things that are necessary for cooperation among the organization. One is willingness to cooperate. So that means all the people involved have to want to cooperate with each other. Second is a common purpose. All the people in the organization, the staff, should be working towards a common goal, a common purpose. And third is communication. That's very important for cooperation. Then we moved to Elton Mayo and the Hawthorne studies. This basically, this theory was again more focused towards a factory type of environment, where they said that in that factory they improved the lighting, and that they observed that increased the productivity. So that this theory outlines that the output will increase as the work conditions are improved. This is the main outline of the theory. Then there was Marie Parker Follett. She came up with the integration of individual and organization. So she was trying to make it a point that the individual working in the company needs to have some integration with the organization's goals, the vision, mission. There should be a good relationship between the management and the employees. So we can see the trend is changing from when the previous theories were more focused on, oh, the managers need to think and the employees just need to show up and do their work. But now it's focusing more towards the good relationship between the two. Then there was Douglas McGregor, who had theory X and theory Y. So he had two theories. In theory X, he said most people dislike work and they avoid it. So most people are lazy, they don't like to work. Then he said people must be threatened with punishment. So you need to say, if you don't do this, then you get punishment. Then only people will be motivated to work. And he said people prefer to be given clear directions. They like to be directed, and they don't like having responsibility. And work is a natural activity. When we move on to theory Y, the same person had theory Y. So theory Y is work is natural. People are capable of self-direction. People are generally committed to work. They like working. They like seeking responsibility. They want to have more responsibility. So we see both these theories are the exact opposite of each other. So now I want you guys to take a moment and think about which one you agree with more. Then Morgan had metaphors for the organization. He had 8. So the 8 organizational metaphorical lenses are: the first, he compares. So metaphor means comparing something to the other. So Morgan compared organizations to machines. Said in a machine, it is automated, it's clearly defined, it's logical, it's predictable and controllable. So he said organizations can be like machines. Then he said organizations can be like organisms. Now, the word organisms refers to any living thing. So that means if something's living, it has some adaptation to its environment. It's an open system that is basically dealing with survival. So he said organizations can be like organisms as well. Then he said organizations can be like brains. So the brain is a think tank. It can process a lot of information. There's strategy, there's planning, there's management, there's self-regulation. So he said organizations can be like a brain as well. Then he said organization could be like culture. It's constructed belief, own language. They could have their own values, norms, and mental models within the organization, their own norms. So that is how he related organizations to culture. Then he related organizations to politics. So politics, we know there's competition, there's conflict, there's influencing power. So he said in organizations, there is all of this stuff as well. Then he said it could be a psychic prison as well. He related these two. So the organization is like a psychic prison, he said. So in a psychic prison, you're being mentally controlled. Your thinking is limited. There's a boundary to how much you're allowed to think. And unconsciously, you're getting trapped in a web of your own creation. That's what he's saying. In an organization, it could happen. Then he's saying flux and transformation. That means there's chaos, complexity, there is change in an organization. And the last one is instruments of domination. So the evil in individuals and organizations, the domination of the environment, or the dark side. So he is relating organizations to all these 8 things, and he's trying to say they could be any of these 8 things. he's making metaphors basically. And then there's some alternative views from these theories. There's conflict theory, where in relationships and in social structures, there's conflict in groups, in individuals, in social classes, and within, let's say, in the management, the employees, there's conflicts. And then there's critical theory. Now that's critics to the rational, functionalistic, managerial, and capitalistic views of the organizations. So they're saying that is critically examining all these views of the organization. So this was an introduction about organizational behavior and the way it's transformed over time with all these theories. As we saw, there's a lot of differences in these theories as time went on by. People kept doing more research and upgrading their theories. New sociologists brought in their own theories. So organizational behavior is just a way for you to understand how people work and function and behave in an organization. That's all for today's video. In case you have any questions, please feel free to email